Hey there, I'm meteorologist Michaela Lucero. Let's talk about flood time. So we've been telling you about high tide. Now, the high tide that we got earlier today, we are thinking now that that was the most significant one that we are going to see for the remainder of Hurricane Ian. So tonight's high tide, this is the timing for these Friday morning. About 12:15 for the Beaches Main Street Bridge at 2:15, 4 a.m. for the Buckman, the Shands, 7 o'clock, St. Mary's at 12:45 a.m. Same time there for Brunswick, St. Augustine at 12:45 as well. So this is the next time when we're going to see high tides at their highest, and that's going to be our next greatest flooding threat. But again, that flooding threat should be lower than what we saw earlier today. Still significant, but lower than what we saw earlier today. Here's the current track of Ian. Hurricane Ian, again, it has been upgraded to a hurricane. It was downgraded once it moved over land, but then it re-strengthened once it moved off into the Atlantic. Now it is a lower category 1. For it to be a Cat 1, we need winds of about 74 miles an hour. Right now they're at 75, so just barely in that category 1 hurricane criteria. It is expected to continue to stay well off to the east of the first coast. We're expecting it to pass close to 120 miles to the east of Jacksonville. So we're going to continue to watch it develop and pass off to well off away from our area. It will continue to pass into the northern areas and potentially bring some pretty significant impacts to portions of Georgia and South Carolina. As far as the wind speeds go here on the first coast, that's the thing we're watching now. The rain is starting to move out, but the winds are still gusty. Sustained winds of 32 in St. Augustine, 38 in Mayport, 40 for NAS Jax, 24 for Jacksonville. Wind gusts anywhere from about 45 to 50. Some spots even breezier. 53 for NAS Jax, 51 in Mayport. St. Augustine, Jacksonville, both at 43, 29 in St. Simons, Waycross sitting at 29 as well. Satellite and radar picture at the moment, a lot of us are starting to clear out. Some of us even getting some blue sky and sunshine as those clouds are starting to become a little bit thinner. So here's where the rain is at the moment, along and to the east of I-95. Now, the heaviest rainfall and the strongest storms associated with Hurricane Ian well off into the Atlantic. You see where that lightning and thunder is right there? That's where the strongest storms are. So well away from our area, but we are still seeing the last little bits of those outer rain bands. Now, we've been telling you about the motion of the storm. I know when we look at it, it looks like it's headed our way, but really the motion of the storm is heading off towards the north. So don't be fooled that it looks like it's heading this way. It's going to continue to move off towards the north for the next couple of days. Here's a zoomed in look of what we're seeing for the first coast. Again, the rainfall is along and to the east of I-95, so many of us are dry, just 1 or 2 pockets of moderate rainfall, and even the cloud cover is starting to thin out for many of us. Rainfall total, some of us, we've seen a lot. Close to 4.5 inches for St. Augustine, 1.39 for Mayport, a little over an inch for NAS Jax. And I do have to kind of give you a little caveat here. These are projected rainfall totals, so we don't have the exact numbers quite yet, but those are some predictions for what we'll be seeing. This model is showing us the precipitable water, so it's showing us where the dry air is, and that's that blue air there. Notice we are going to continue to see the dry air pull into the first coast, and it's going to be feeling being much cooler and drier out for our area. Hurricane Ian, the big 3 that we're watching right now, past 9 o'clock, a lot of those winds are really going to start to break up. The water level rise 4 feet or less for many areas, especially near that high tide time, and the flooding risk. Again, we're going to watch the high tide times. Let's do a quick precision cast here. Duval County, the heaviest rainfall, it came today, and it's starting to move out. Unless you live along the beaches, many of us are starting to see dry conditions. Same story there for St. Johns County. If you live to the west of I-95, you're mostly dry for today. A quick peek at Futurecast here. What I want you to notice is if you've got cleanup to do, well, you're going to have some time to do it. Getting into Friday and Saturday, the rain moves out, the cloud cover breaks up, and we've got some dry conditions for any sort of cleanup that we have got to get to.